Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 40 of the Nekozuki Knits podcast. My name is Katie, and I'm coming to you from Cochrane, Alberta, Canada, where we actually have a nice day for this summer. Even though I'm wearing a shawl, it's gotten cold. I don't know why, but we've done that shift from summer to fall for sure. You can feel it in the air. So I don't think, unless we get a warm burst in September, I don't think we're going to have much of a summer. Anyway, hi to everyone returning, and hello to everyone new. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I just posted on Instagram that I was recording, and people are asking for kitty video bombs. I can't guarantee anything, honestly. Most of the time when I sit down to actually talk at the camera, they don't come up, unfortunately. Last week was definitely a fluke, but I wish that they were around more often. So let's get right into it. I did get some knitting done. Oh, sorry. I am sorry that I didn't record yesterday. I was not in a podcast mind frame. Last week, for whatever reason, really caught up to me yesterday, and so you wouldn't have had a good energy coming from me, and I don't want to put a bad energy out on my YouTube. So I waited the day, and I feel much better today so that I can actually chat with you a lot more excitedly than I would have been able to yesterday. So yeah, and another selfish reason is I actually finished an object last night, and if I waited, I knew if I waited till today I would have it finished to show you. So hey, win-win for everyone. So one of the FOs, it's not something that I finished this week, but I did block it. I finished and blocked Waiting for Rain. And this is knit out of, so Waiting for Rain, first off, is by Soft Sweater on Instagram, or Sylvia Bobilvia, and it's knit out of Madeline Tosh Merino Light and Madeline Tosh Sock. And the Tosh Merino Light is in Mandala. There's quite a bit more, yeah, you can kind of see that. It looks kind of rusty, but it's more purpley pink in real life. Anyway, it's Mandala. It's a really pretty color. Super soft. Oh my goodness, it's so squishy. I love it. And then the Tosh sock is in Mineral. And that's really all there is to say about it. I got the Mineral on my honeymoon, so I'm super happy to be able to use that. Just over 2 years. And I started this shawl in Japan, and so now it's going to be done so I can wear it to Japan in November as well. Yeah, US 6 4.0 millimeter needles. Definitely go take a look at the pattern. It's super easy. My only problems with it were when I screwed it up myself. So, because I am still practicing my lace skills. It's not even difficult lace. Just some days. The other FO, Ridged for Your Pleasure socks. Yay! So these are knit out of Yarn Ink in the Neon Pop colorway, US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, and they, yeah. It is on her sparkle base. A little bit of stellina in it. I took my progress keeper out because I had started this episode already and then screwed up. But I was down about here. I was about halfway down the sock when you saw this last. As you can see, the patterning accentuates details. That's what I'm going to tell you. And it changed quite a bit, quite drastically actually, what the socks look like, because it, as I was discussing before, this kind of double helixes, whereas this one just kind of diagonally goes up. And the same on the back too, whereas this one you can actually see it spirals. So anyway, super happy. I'm glad they're done. That is my In Spirit knit for the cal that I'm hosting in my group right now, the Ridged for Your Pleasure cal, which I'll go into a little bit more because this actually qualifies for a bunch of knit-alongs, and I will go into that when I actually go into knit-along details. My other work in progress is my Caterpillar green socks. And I literally picked these up this morning to knit 4 rows on them so I could be like, guys, I knit on them. Literally, that's what I did. So you can see there, yeah, it's like 4 rows. I might not even gotten the 4 rows done today. I might have gotten like 2. No, I did 3. So I had 1 row that I'd done before. Anyway, whatever. This is her classic twist, I believe. Merino twist. It's the one without the cashmere. It's her sock. And I was discussing how I was going to switch to ribbing further up here, but I think what I'm going to actually do is, because there's going to end up being so much that I'd have to cut out by doing that, I think I'm actually going to go higher and then make sure that I cast off in time for my next toe. Leaving like a couple stripes for the heels themselves. I think that's what I'm going to do. I haven't quite decided yet. So anyway, I'm working on those US 1 2.25mm needles, just in case I didn't say that. And you can tell they're my Chiaogus because of the red cable. It's got a little bit more body than a lot of cables. I don't like pliable cables. I have discovered this. Hence part of the reason why I'm destashing a lot of Addi needles. Yeah, I love them. Well, no, I like needles, but I don't love Addi needles. I love Chiaogu needles. So my alliances have changed. Also, Chiaogu's like half the cost of Addi's. And Dallas was really nice and got me an interchangeable set a couple years ago. So yay! The other part I've worked on is my Ginny's cardigan. I don't remember how far I was on the sleeve, but I have added a progress keeper now, so I can show you next week. This is being knit out of Sweet Georgia Yarn's Superwash DK in the Amethyst colorway. And that's actually showing up there. That looks good. And look at how nice it's going to be with my hair, guys. That's what I'm excited about. I think I told you that last week too, but yay. And hopefully I might be able to get this done for Knit City. Because the Little Wave cardigan I'm finishing off and then getting buttons for in Victoria after Knit City. And this is going to be squishy and soft, and I know that's upside down, but it looks really good. So I know I've put a few rows on it, but I'm just past the elbow, so I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close to where I was last week. Super Easy Patterns by Mari Chiba, and it's in Unofficial Harry Potter Knits. That's where I'm knitting it from. It is also in a book version too. Yeah. So, cowls. I want you to guess how these would work. Rich for Your Pleasure socks. I am actually hosting the Rich for Your Pleasure cowl in my group. And basically using any of the Rich for Your Pleasure patterns. It's only open till August 31st, which I just remembered is a week. So if you have any entries, make sure to get them in. These also would count very well for the 2 other cowls that I'm hosting and or hosting. One I'm hosting in my group, one I'm hosting in the Knit Social group. These count for the Canada cowl, which would be in my group, because they're a Canadian dyer. Yarn Ink is from Okotoks, just south of me actually, and B, a Canadian designer, me. So those both count very well. And then these would also count for the Knit Social cowl, which I'm hosting, or Knit City cowl, which I'm hosting in the Knit Social group, because Yarn Ink is a dyer, a vendor. She is a dyer and a vendor at Knit City, and that's what counts. And I am also a vendor at Knit City, and I will also have Rich for Your Pleasures patterns there. Yes, now that I say that, I actually have to print them and get going on that. What was I going to say? So yeah, that would count. I can't enter obviously because I'm hosting, but these would count. For the Knit Social cowl, these would count. For both the Canada cowl and the Knit Social cowl as well, because Caterpillar Green is A, a vendor at Knit Social, and B, a Canadian dyer. And then on top of all of that, the Ginny's cardigan, the yarn would count for the Knit Social cowl and the Canada cowl, because it is a Canadian dyer. So the Knit Social cowl runs until September 15th in the Knit City. It's in the Knit social group, but it's the Knit City Cal, and it runs until September 15th. The Canada Cal runs in my group and many other podcasters' groups. It's spearheaded by the Two Tangled Skeins, and it's being run until September 30th. And the Ridge for Your Pleasure Cal runs until August 31st. Which brings me and reminds me about Stash Dash. So I couldn't actually finish my Stash Dash this year because I decided with the Little Wave cardigan that I would do buttons in Victoria. And it's one of those things that I can't just wear around, like finish everything off and then wear without buttons. It definitely needs to be buttoned. And so that was quite a bit off my total, but finishing this, and if I'd been able to count that, I actually finished 3,200 meters since May. So I'm super happy with what I actually got done. Obviously that doesn't even include like how much I've knit on the sleeve or how much I've knit on the caterpillar green sock. So I'm really happy with that. I feel like that's a really good progress. I've done really well with my personal stash down because even the Neon Pop from Yarn Ink is pretty old, and Caterpillar Green Yarn is from last year as well, so it's getting there for Deep Stash too. So I'm like getting really close to actually having an empty cubby, which feels fantastic. So there's a few things, I've got a few things in the queue that I still want to really knit with what I have, and then I'll kind of be free to start buying some yarn for other projects. There's a few things that I still need to destash. I have a lot of random stuff, although a lot of it's going to go into designs. It's kind of where I'm at right now, is I am doing really well with my stash down. With that chatter, I'm going to go into reading. I am reading An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I am actually really enjoying it. It's currently my treadmill reading. I had started another book before that, and I'm not going to name titles because I don't, because some people like things different things from me. But my biggest pet peeve with that is like the writing was fine for the most part, so like whatever, I've read some really horribly written things and it wasn't up in the horrible scale, that's fine. But what they did is just be redundant, and I can't stand that. So they would finish their chapter arc, perfect, they kind of sum it up, okay, that's fine. But then they would repeat the summary in different words at the beginning of the next chapter, and I'm just like, that's just redundant. Like, especially if you're sitting down and reading a book, things don't need to be repeated that rapidly, at least not for me. So I'm not going to finish it, which is fine. I don't need to finish all the books that I start. It's just going to get returned to the library. I'm very glad I didn't purchase it, because I do feel more obligated to actually finish books I purchase, even though I have a massive to be read purchased pile. So, you know, that's just how it goes. Chatter is mostly about the shop this week. I am making obi bags. I know I said that I was going to do vinyl bags last week, but I started on them and then decided to go to obi bags because I feel like I'm more fulfilled by obi bags, and honestly the vinyl bags I'm still sorting a few things out, and they're a lot more difficult to sew and a lot more time consuming because they're fiddlier. So they're just kind of sitting right now. I do have quite a few cut out, but I figured the obi bags were a better investment of my time this week. And so I got quite a few of them ready. They're cut and they're pieced, and then right now I'm just going to be working towards putting zippers in. And so they're going to be ready. I'm hoping to have some up in an update before Knit City. But I can't guarantee anything, and I'm really sorry for that. Best thing to do is to watch my Instagram. If you see something that I post on there, I am more than happy to set up a custom listing for you on Etsy of anything. It doesn't matter if it's an obi bag or one of the big bags like I did last week or whatever. Just let me know and I will get it set aside for you. Particularly with the obi bags, because they're so limited, because I'm only able to get so many cuts per fabric or per obi, and for all the obi that I've seen, used, new, everything like that. These are all used. I've never seen a repeat. So that's something to consider as well, as if you see something that you like, pick it up simply because I'm not gonna, like, I can't get it again. Yeah, and if you guys really like them, I will make sure to pick up quite a few more obi in Japan. I'm actually quite happy with how many I've been able to get out of what I have, but I can always use more. So, and that is the thing. All the obi are upcycled, recycled. I went and purchased used obi, and that's what I'm using. I'm trying to use as much as I can from the obi itself. I am going to have some plain fabric left over from some of them, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that, if I'm going to keep it and use it or destash it, and that's something that I will decide sooner rather than later. Yeah, I'm really enjoying them though. They're so much fun and they're so pretty. I can't wait to share some of them with you. Then the other thing is also actually for shop slash show display. So prepare yourselves. Can you make a guess of what I have? It's right there. It actually came into frame faster than I anticipated. It's a foot form. Which I have been looking for. So most of the foot forms that I've seen have just been this, but this one's actually weighted. It's actually quite heavy. You can see the foam in there. So like it will sit on my display without worry, unless you like really jostle it or something. But it's the male foot form, because of course the Rich for Your Pleasure sock sample that I have is a male sock. I'm gonna have to go back and get one of the lady legs as well. It's actually more of a leg because it's a hosiery display. Simply because not all of my socks are going to be men's socks. But anyway, this will work better than my like stainless steel blockers. It will also work better for photos, I think, because it adds the 3D effect instead of being flat. So yeah, but it's a male foot form. I don't know, it's funny. I was like looking at the invoice. I just picked this up yesterday. And I was looking at the invoice because I had written it all down and blah blah blah, and we set it up, and I was like, what am I getting that's male? Because in my head I'd already forgotten. Short-term memory of the goldfish, or less. And I'm going to stop playing with the foot. But I'd already forgotten that I was getting it. So she was writing it down there. I looked at the invoice and I'm like, male. And the thing that was in my head was hose connectors, like the female-male connectors. So I was like, what? Like, what did I need a male connector for? Because that's what was in my head. And I'm like, right, it's a male foot form. Don't ask. I was, like I said, I was super tired just today. That's why I didn't record. So obviously it just continued all day. Yeah, honestly, that's actually everything. So that chatter section was kind of also the shop news. I don't have a date for an update right now, but it is something that I should be able to give you better next week once I've had a little bit more time to get zippers in, top stitching done, everything like that. Most of the really time consuming work for the bags is done already. Cutting and like piecing and pinning are all very time consuming. The actual sewing is not the longest part of the process. Besides like sewing the zipper in and then flipping it for the top stitching and then flipping back. That can be a bit tedious. But I love it, and especially when my fabrics are pretty, like the obi. I do believe most of them are silk, so I am going to suggest for these that they are spot clean or dry cleaned only, just because I'm not 100% sure on the fiber contents. The other thing is that these will have a little bit different of a price structure, simply because I only will purchase these when I go to Japan. There may be a few that I make from the obi I purchased for my wedding that we didn't use, but because it can be difficult, even when I'm there, I actually picked up a couple obi that I'm hesitant to use because of the staining on them. But that's why I don't want to order them from Canada, because you can't see them and you don't know what the quality of the obi actually are. So I've made sure that I've gotten good quality obi that don't have like a ton of stains or tears or anything like that. Tears, of course, I can't use the fabric, and stains, I can't use the fabric either, because honestly it looks really gross, especially on the lighter obi, and I got quite a few lighter obi. So so the price structure for them will be a little bit more expensive because of that factor of they're exclusively when I go to Japan to pick up fabrics. And I will make sure to make an effort this time to pick up a number of obi on top of my fabric. It's part of the reason why I'm glad that it switched from just me going to Dallas coming to, is because then I can use his baggage allowance for fabric. Because obi are heavy, because they've got, so an obi is basically 3 layers. There's a top layer, which the top layer is what I would count as the patterning. So that's what you would actually see, it's the formal side. Then there's a middle layer, which is an interfacing. It's a really heavy, most of the time, interfacing. And then the bottom layer is plain, usually, but it's also, it matches whatever is on the bag, like for color scheme. So there's lots of fabric in them, but if it has any damage on it, I can't use it. So anyway, it is something that just will be adjusted out. So if you do have questions about that, let me know. I have actually determined what the costs for them will be. It's not like I'm not doubling any of the costs of the current bags, but it's definitely an addition on top of what they currently cost. And I will make sure that I do bring back a number of obi from Japan, simply so that I have more stock that you can take a look at before I start cutting them up this time. I had to make sure that they actually worked. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys. That is legitimately everything this time. And so I will chat with you all next week. I'm hoping to be able to record on Tuesday. If not, it will be Tuesday or Wednesday. So you can watch this over the weekend, hopefully. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me on any of my social media platforms. I'm Nekozuki Knits anywhere that you need to contact me. Instagram and Ravelry or Etsy are usually the best ones to actually get a hold of me at. And I look forward to chatting to you on any of those platforms. Thanks so much, and have an awesome week. Bye.